And now the news in full. The Nigerian Senate has confirmed the nomination of Lieutenant General Olufemi Oluede for appointment as the Chief of Army Staff. The confirmation today followed the consideration of report by the Chairman of the Senate Committee on Army, Senator Yaradua Abdulaziz Musa. Correspondent Kunu Uju reports that Yaradua said the committee was impressed with the high level of understanding, achievement and excellence stated in the credentials of the nominee. The Senate thereafter confirmed the appointment of Oluede as the substantive Chief of Army Staff.
The Senate Committee on Nigerian Army, having diligently and meticulously conducted the screening of the nominee according to the Constitution, and being satisfied with his conduct, competence, experience, and educational qualification, hereby recommend to the Senate of the Federal Republic of Nigeria as follows: that Lieutenant General Olufemi Olatubosun Oluede be confirmed as the Chief of Army Staff, having successfully undergone the screening process of this committee.
The House of Representatives descended into a rowdy session on Tuesday following comment by Akim Rotimi, spokesperson of the Green Chamber, regarding tax reform bills. Rotimi had reason to present two reports on behalf of Honorable Boma Godhead, a Rivers lawmaker who was absent from plenary. During his introduction, Rotimi stated, "I present Ekiti North, the first state whose National Assembly caucus has anonymously endorsed the tax bills." His remarks was met with levity, urging calm and clarifying that Rotimi's comment was a personal opinion made in a light-hearted manner. Despite his intervention, the uproar continued, forcing Rotimi to apologize and withdraw his statement. However, his subsequent reintroduction of the report failed to gain a seconder as protests persisted. In a related incident, Honorable Gali Mustafa from Kanu raised a point of order on privilege, citing a daily trust publication in which Deputy House spokesperson Honorable Philip Agbese allegedly claimed that opponents of the tax reform bills were now seeking their speedy passage.
Unanimously endorsed the tax bills. Mr. Speaker, I rise on behalf of Honorable Boma Goodhead. Mr. Speaker, I rise on behalf of Honorable Boma Goodhead.
Up this morning to see an online publication from the deputy spokesman of the House. Read as the content, or the heading read as, the newspaper is Daily Trust. And it reads, "Those who oppose to tax reform bill now seeking speedy passage."
Say that again.
Those who oppose to tax reform bills now seeking speedy passage.
But he did not tell us whether we should send it to ethics and privilege. That was why Honorable Sada came up with that. It's not in your prayer. You only ask that the House do investigate it. Because, when we say we are investigating, there are so many ways to investigate this. We will make sure that all your concerns with this publication is well noted by the House and the right action will be taken.
Now we have Lawman Nzenwa, a forensic auditor and fraud examiner, who will be discussing with us the controversies surrounding the tax reform bills, which has been suspended indefinitely by the House of Representatives. Thank you so much for joining us at this time.
You're welcome. And good evening, Nigerians.
All right, so the House of Representatives, suspended indefinitely the debate on the tax reform bills earlier fixed for Tuesday following mounting pressures from the 19 northern state governors. And of course, we've also seen today that there's been a rowdy session still as regards to the tax reform bills. How do you react to all of this?
Thank you very much. I think that the idea that it is maybe 19 northern governors that were possibly asking for more consultation may not necessarily be the true position. Many Nigerians, from what I could see, many experts would also want more consultations. Suspension of that tax reform bill to allow for more consultations is apt and is something in the right direction. Ordinarily, when a landlord of a house is trying to enter the house from the window, it speaks volume. Just the same thing. It is the right of government to collect taxes, to levy taxes, every government in the world. But it must be done properly. It must be done in such a way that everybody will be satisfied that due process has been followed and the right things have been done. So, to the extent that the House of Representatives did not push to maybe like the Senate did, possibly, I think they were right. And it's not only the northern governors that are maybe in tandem with that idea that more consultations ought to be made, but there must be more input into the tax reform bill.
All right. So at the heart of the opposition is the belief that the proposed reforms will disproportionately burden northern states and could also have devastating consequences for the northern region and other parts of the country. Do you really see it in that direction?
Yeah, I came to that knowledge, but then I did not just see it that way. What I see in the tax issue is that the whole arrangement has not been properly made. If, as it is now, if you allow it, it's not only the northern state that will be affected. Even ordinary citizens will be affected. For instance, let's look at this VAT, because VAT is at the heart of the controversy. If you look at the entire reform bill, VAT is at the heart of the controversy. There are issues that are supposed to be settled in that VAT Act, the area that concerns VAT. The issue like the relevant tax authority, it wasn't addressed. It's not been addressed. How is Federal Revenue Service being the relevant tax authority for VAT? Remember that VAT is a consumption tax. So it should be this issue of who collects VAT in the first place should be part and parcel of that tax reform bill. And these are some of the things you could get if proper consultations are made. Apart from who collects VAT, then you look at who pays VAT. Then, after the payment of the VAT, who is the person, authority, the tax person? Like we see companies being the agent of the government who collect taxes, and failure to remit carries penalty. Failure to pay again carries penalty against the same company. The citizens that are the consumers who are supposed to be penalized for failure to pay tax or VAT, they refuse the companies, one of the companies, from deducting VAT from them. Landlords, retailers, wholesalers, they refuse. They refuse to allow VAT to be deducted, and the penalty is against the company who ought to deduct from them. So I think it should be redefined in such a way that everybody would be at par and that would be at peace with it. One thing at the heart of taxation is equity and justice. There must be justice inside the tax reform, and that is one of the things that I should be thinking about here. That it's not just about maybe it will hurt the north or it will hurt the south, it will hurt the citizens if it is done like that. If it is allowed, if it's not discussed properly and addressed properly.
All right. So, what would you advise to be the way forward from here as regards to the step the House of Reps has, taken to halt the debate on the bill?
Yeah. Now, the way forward is what they have done. Which areas? Like I mentioned, the areas. Who is the relevant tax authority? Who is supposed to collect VAT? Is it the federal government? Is it the state government? Is it the local government? It's a consumption tax. They should consider even the local government being the relevant tax authority to collect the VAT, not even the state government. So that you collect tax, the VATs are collected from where the residents consume. and not the federal government. There is nothing like allocation. You don't allocate anything in VAT if it is properly collected. If the equity and justice of it is done, you don't allocate anything. The local government that collects the VAT will be the one to use it, and not the federal government maybe using it and then start allocation. All this whole controversy is because somebody is talking about the wrong person collecting the VAT and now start distributing. You don't need to distribute VAT if the right person collects it. Federal government has no duty. There's nothing like issue. Then the North will no longer complain. The South will no longer. Nobody will complain. You collect VAT from wherever you consume the products.
Reform bill saying it will address the decadence in the tax state system of the country. Addressing journalists at a peaceful protest in front of the National Assembly complex in Abuja, the chairman of the group, Malam Tijani Kabiru Mohammed, called on federal lawmakers from the 19 northern states to support and ensure the speedy passage of the bill.
Today that the tax reform bill is in order and Nigerians should work towards its perfection and also her progress. Yes, sir. For so long, we have lived on a decadence of tax reforms that has not produced anything good or meaningful to this nation. No, sir, no. We from the North, we are categorically in support of this tax reform bill.
The House Representatives Committee on Polytechnics and Higher Technical Education has raised concern over the spending of 600 million naira by authorities of the Federal Polytechnic UGEP Cross River State on personnel and overhead costs, despite having only 142 students and 157 staff members. Correspondent Nabuchi Kinabuchi sent in this report.
During a budget performance review, the Polytechnic's rector, Professor Edward Oke, explained that the institution, established in 2021, faced significant challenges starting operations. He reviewed that 2 billion naira take-off grant was used for renovations, constructing new facilities and acquiring vehicles. However, the committee questioned the jurisdiction for such expenses, including 38 million naira spent on local travel. Professor K also attributed low enrollment of UGEP's stigmatized history, which he said has deterred students and staff. Despite efforts to address the stigma, the institution has only managed to admit 79 students this year, bringing the total to 142, including students inherited from the Institute of Technology and Management (ITM). A committee member, Honorable Kolawole Akintayo, described UGEP spending as unsustainable, pointing out that the personnel cost alone was nearly 500 million naira for just 142 students, comparing it unfavorably to local elementary schools with much larger enrollments.
Started our first session last year. We had 16 students in our first. 16. Yes, but this year we have admitted so far 63. So we have a total of 79. So invariably, we have performed more than a school that started 12 years ago. So if you add that, yes, when we add, no, I am saying relatively, yes.
My honorable colleague asked one question. You want to justify it? How can you use 38 million naira for local travel? Where are you traveling to? I don't understand, Prof. Where are you traveling to? We need receipts. We need those documents. How can we travel with 38 million naira in a year?
If you have 142 students, that's like an elementary school. In my village, we have a primary school. The student there is over 500. When a polytechnic, federal polytechnic, for that matter, 142 students, and your personnel is 496 million. That's not 500 million, your personnel. For a school that has 142 students.
Committee Chairman, Representative Fouad Kayode Lagoda, criticized the poor preparation of presentations from institutions invited for oversight, including 6 federal polytechnics from the South-South region. He demanded a representation of reports within a week, emphasizing the need for accountability and transparency.
It's amazing that we called schools from South for an oversight, and not one of the school met the requirements or did what was expected, considering the fact that you had over a week notification. And I'm sure over a week notification of this day, but you've been aware over 2 months ago that your turn was going to come.
You're still on to Galaxy News. We'll quickly take a break, and when we return, the news continues. Just stay with us. We're glad to have you back. Now, for more updates and latest news, please visit handle at Galaxy TV. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Galaxy TV News. You can follow and interact with us on our Facebook page, facebook.com/Galaxy TV. Remember to follow and tag us on our Instagram page at Galaxy TV. Our social media platforms are user-friendly and can always accommodate your live updates and comments, as you can easily scan our IGQR code. Nigerians have been advised to always report any consumer right infringements to the Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission. Director of Corporate Affairs of the Commission, Naje Ijagu, gave the advice when he played host to the General Manager of Galaxy Television, Kolawole Akintoba, who paid a courtesy call in his office in Abuja on Tuesday. He blamed consumers for the inadequacy in dealing with consumer lawbreakers who trample on the rights of citizens without remorse. He reiterated the Commission's readiness to tackle any infringement among the masses, irrespective of the organization, and unsuspecting consumers who conceal and